Welcome back to the Virtual Cafe Summer Speaker Series. Today we are joined by Aisha Diandra. I'm going to say that with a gorgeous little accent there, but Aisha Diandra, who is a artist and photographer and a friend of mine, and the incredible artist for the Pole Physio Anatomy series. Welcome on board, Aisha, and thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So happy that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about, I guess, part of your work, which is photography, and helping to provide some tips and tricks to those who might be attending their first ever photo shoot, or maybe even their second or third, but want to be able to get the most out of it. Talk to me in terms of, I guess we're going to just get straight into it. I'm good. Crack it open. That was very Aussie of me, actually, just crack it open. So good. So talk to me in terms of, first of all, who is a photo shoot for? Like what levels are photo shoots for?
So pretty much any level, really. I get a lot of beginner polars or even sort of first time shoot people that book a shoot with me. And so I have had the question of like, oh, I'm only a beginner. Am I still going to get some good photos? And yes, you will, because you don't have to be advanced. And even if you are advanced, you don't have to pull out your hardest tricks for a shoot. Honestly, simple poses and tricks tend to look really good and tend to flatter everyone, which is why I always suggest them. I mean, obviously you want to showcase your best work, which I totally get. But don't be afraid of having some simple poses, and don't feel intimidated to do a shoot when you're a beginner either. So yeah, it's pretty much for all levels, all all styles, and fuck that one.
I know what you mean. I get it. Like it's for everyone. Like
It's for everyone, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I made a bit of a mistake when it came to booking. I've only had one photo shoot in my life, and it's been with you. And I made a real mistake when it came to booking it. And that was that I waited. That was my biggest issue, because I was waiting until I nailed a trick, because I was so dead set on having it feeling really comfortable so I could put it in my photo shoot. And I ended up having to, because I was so busy with my masters at the time and a whole bunch of things, I got distracted. A few months of nailing a trick turned into a couple of years, I think it was. And then I got it, I had it, but then I was like, oh, I just don't feel like I'm at my best at the moment. Like I just don't feel really good within my body. So I waited a bit more. There was a few things that happened. And then when I went to book, boom, lockdowns. It was like a 2-year lockdown and it was miserable. And I was there being like, I wish I did my photo shoot with you. And I finally got around to doing it at the end of 2021, I think it was around then. And but that's right, I had an injury as well. So I had fracture.
Yeah.
Came back from. So I like literally returned to Pole, and I was like, okay, I'm not even doing half the stuff of what I could previously do, but I don't care, because now I recognize that it doesn't actually matter what tricks I'm doing on the pole in this photo shoot. I just want to celebrate my achievements, and I want photos for when I'm 10, 15, 20 years down the track to prove that I did pole and that, hey, I looked bloody damn good doing it. So
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. I was the same too. Like I think my first pole shoot was when I was already in like a pretty high advanced level. And it took me a few shoots of trying to do all my hardest tricks and just ignoring all the poses before I was like, I should have just done some simple poses, because sometimes you look through your photos and you're just like, oh, I look really good in that pose, but it's a really hard trick. And you can see it in my face that I'm struggling. So I wouldn't pick that photo because I look not great. The trick looks great, but I don't. And yeah, so I always think like whenever people are sort of hemming and eyeing about, oh, should I do this photo shoot? I'm like, just do it. You won't regret it. Like worst case, even if it's all poses, it's still going to look great. I actually remember like one of my shoot clients, she booked the shoot a few months like before the shoot was meant to happen. I messaged her the week of just to kind of confirm and ask like, oh, do you have any idea what kind of lighting you're after? And she had completely forgotten to put it in her diary. So she was like, I haven't prepared anything. I completely forgot that I had the shoot. Luckily, she could still make it, but because of that, she pretty much did no tricks at all up the pole. It was all poses, and she's like a very advanced poler, and she's still like, yeah, the photos turned out great. They're all poses, but it just looks fantastic because poses are pretty hard to mess up, and they just always look good. So
Remember this person, I remember you telling me this story, and I remember seeing the photos and going, holy wow, is that incredible. So yeah, so I think moral of the story there is photo shoots are for everyone, and don't wait to book in a photo shoot because you want to nail a trick, because it's sometimes just not worth it.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you, we get so much to cover in terms of photo shoots, and I kind of sat down and thought about it, and then you've kind of exploded my mind in terms of so much that we can actually chat about. There's so many good tips to give them. So let's, I guess, start with like what you actually should expect at a photo shoot. So right from the moment, so someone's contacted you, they've booked in a session, and you've confirmed it. I imagine there's like an email that gets sent out at some point, and that email would kind of have all the information.
Yeah, so it generally covers sort of, I sort of give the info of like how with my style of photography, I tend to use colored lights. So I will always sort of in the email be like, if you have any specific lights that you want, or lighting styles, lighting colors, when it's sort of one of those full day shoot events, I can't really move around the lighting as much. So usually I have like, hey, the lighting's going to look like this, but you do get to pick colors. And so I'll always tell people, here's my contact info if you want to individually message me to choose your colors. I like to make note of it before the shoot just because it's a lot more efficient on the day. I don't have to spend time at the start of the shoot kind of figuring out what color they want. So I try to get in touch with everyone before the shoot, figure out what colors are after. If they don't know, I'll ask, what outfits are you thinking of using? And that kind of gives me an idea of what colors will look good. And yeah, I just like having that prepared beforehand. Sometimes I'll get people that, don't really know what colors they want. And so, it doesn't take too much time to figure that out on the day, but the more you have prepared, the better you can use your 30 minutes because it goes very fast. Yeah.
I was going to say, so for those who don't know what we're referring to in terms of colored backgrounds, go check out Aisha's Instagram, which is at aishadiandra.creative. And you can see exactly what we're referring to. And if you can't find it, head to my Instagram, Pole.Physio, and go to any of my anatomy posts recently, and you'll see that I've tagged Aisha in it. So go check it out through there if you need to. But a colored background is basically literally what you're saying. It's the pole dancer is on the pole, but there is a color in the background, and sometimes it's a mixture of colors, two colors that have made one color. The thing that blew my mind and many other people's minds is it's not actually a colored background in real life. It's just literally a white background. But it's the filters that you're applying to your lights that then when the flash goes off. I'm obviously not very technical in terms of my understanding of photography. When you're taking the photo, it comes up and then you're able to enhance those colors in the post edit. So and it looks incredible. They look phenomenal, all the different colors. So that's what we're
so I do have a lot of fun with that. So yeah, the colors are just these sort of little gel filters that I stick over the lights, and so it just changes the color of the lights when the flashes go off. And so with that too, like even if you have picture colors beforehand, at the start of the shoot, I'll get the colors set up and I'll get you to kind of jump into the shot, do a test shot, and just have you review it just to make sure you're happy with the lighting before we continue. And then during the shoot, I'll sort of let you do a few tricks and poses. And then once you're kind of like needing a little bit of a break, you can come down off the pole or whatever apparatus we're using. And then just come over and look at the photos I just took. If you're happy, we can move on. And yeah, the main goal, I guess, for me is that you're happy with the photos and you've gotten all of the shots that you want out of the shoot. And so it's really important for me to kind of have you look through the photos as we're going through the shoot. At the end of the shoot, when we've got like a couple minutes left, I'll usually just sort of quickly flick through all the shots we've taken, just to make sure you're happy with everything. And, if you want to do any last minute tricks one more time, we've got like a minute or two to do them. So that's because I want everyone to be happy with their shots. And yeah, especially with, I always like to kind of not nag, but preparation is very important. I've been on the other side of the camera as well. And so I tend to be a bit anal with how I prepare for shoots where I'm getting photographed. And I usually apply those same things to people that are shooting with me, especially for the 30-minute shoots, because you'll be surprised how quickly that time goes by, especially if you have outfit changes. So I always kind of drill the whole preparation really makes a difference. Like you can just wing it, and I've seen people wing it and do a really good job, but you will get the most out of your time if you have some preparation beforehand. So yeah.
Talk about some tips in terms of how to prepare for it shortly. I guess I'm going to ask about the time factor for a second. So I imagine most photographers work similar to you. As I said, I've only done one photo shoot today and it's been with yourself. So I haven't had much experience with others yet. I'm hoping to change that this year in terms of doing another photo shoot with yourself and then with some other people. I'm ready to take some more fun photos. But in terms of generally how photographers work, is it usually a 30 minutes for as a standard photography session? Like, are there hours? Are there 45s? Like, what's the general goal within the pole and aerial industry?
So I think generally from what I've seen, and this is for myself as well, tends to be 30-minute sessions for like pole or aerial shoots, especially if they are done at a pole and aerial studio. So it tends to be 30-minute sessions. I do shoot out of a studio that I have set up at my house. So with those, I do offer the 1-hour shoot times. And also in some cases, if people want more time, then they can also book more because it is just my home studio. So there's no time limit. But yeah, generally it tends to be 30 minutes. So I usually suggest my shoot prep kind of spiel for all shoot times. Obviously with a 1-hour shoot, you can kind of get away with taking things a bit slower and having more breaks if you kind of ascribe to just like the 30-minute standard preparation, and you can just really use your time better in the 1 hour. But obviously for the 30-minute shoots, fast paced.
Go.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people that really take their time and they get away with it. Generally the people that are very prepared. But yeah, with the 1 hours, you can kind of have more breaks, do more outfit changes, which on that note also, I never have any limits with how many outfits you can wear, just as quickly as you can get changed pretty much. But yeah, just be mindful of how long it can take to change. And it's a good idea to sort of prepare your outfits beforehand. And I like to tell people to use their favorite outfits first, just because if we run out of shoots and run out of time, you've got your shots with your favorite outfit. And I've had some people that, did bring a spare outfit, but then decided, you know what, I'm happy with just this outfit for the whole shoot. So we don't have to change. And then you can really, make the most of your time that way.
And then in terms of like your shoots, you also have done some location-based shoots as well. Mm-hmm. So people like I put up that gorgeous photo of you in the forest that obviously wasn't taken by yourself because you're on the You've also offered similar like that as well. And I know that you've done, or you're looking at a potential location shoot at some point for this year. So I know that you've done that as well. And some people have taken, have asked you to go and do hotel shoots, etc.
Yeah.
So there's also those options for people who are interested in that. In terms of for the beginners out there more so, that might not feel comfortable doing multiple tricks in a row on a pole, they might get up and do a straddle and then come back down. That's okay as well, isn't it? Like you don't
yeah, for sure.
So for those who feel comfortable, they might do a pick on a straddle on a spinning pole. You get lots of different photos. Then they might very slowly move into their next trick, and then you take photos. And then, after 3 or 4 moves in a row, they come down and then they review the photos, like you said. So that comes down to the individual's experience and ability at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then in terms of tips, so you're already given some really good ones already. So in terms of those who, the people who prepare really well, I'm a bit, like you've said before, a bit particular. I like to prepare usually. My photo shoot that I had with you, I did not get much chance to prepare for because they kind of got thrown together, and begged you at one point for some Pole Physio stuff, and we kind of threw it together. But funny enough, the photo shoot I had actually initially planned with you, that was supposed to be prior to lockdown, I had a PowerPoint presentation. I had photos ready to go with the pictures. I am that level of prepared when I come to that sort of stuff. And I know a couple other polers in our studio that are also that level.
Yeah.
And that's really nice, but that's probably not the only way to prepare. I've seen a lot of people, what's that app called? I'm going to sound like a real old person at the moment, like Pinterest.
Yeah. Pinterest.
Okay. Yeah. So I've seen a lot of people do Pinterest, and they've like taken photo, like they on their phone, they'll have photos of it, or like on Instagram, they'll just a bunch of poses and they'll have those prepared. But also like their outfits, knowing like what outfit to pair with the pose, and before doing your favorite outfit first and your favorite poses with that outfit first is really helpful to ensure that if you do underestimate time, you don't run out of it, so you don't miss out on you. Any other thoughts on that in terms of
so I always my standard, like I tell everybody who's preparing for the shoot, usually if it's someone who's had a few shoots, they kind of know what they're doing. But for people that are a bit new, or they haven't, or it's been a while since their last shoot, and I do get the question a lot, like, should I make a trick list? What should I do to prepare? And yes, absolutely, do a trick list. It doesn't have to be, a Pinterest board or like a saved folder on your Instagram. It can literally just be a list. As for how many you should have, I usually go with the whole how many final edits are included in whatever shoot package you're getting. Whatever that number is, double it for how many tricks you should get. So yeah, if you're getting 5 final edits, I usually recommend 10 tricks and poses on your list at least. I know that seems like a lot, but you will be surprised how quickly you can go through them, and also throw in a few backups of like, tricks and poses that you like, but that you like how they look on you. They might not be your favorite poses, but that they'll look good on you and that you can do them. Because as with life, things happen. Some days you when you have your shoot planned, things don't work out, or you forget half things. That's why you'd make a list. But yeah, sometimes your body is just not wanting to do a certain trick, or the outfit doesn't allow for a certain pose. So it's good to have a few backups. I always suggest things during the shoot too. Like if you've run out of ideas, I can always give you some. And I always tend to have a sort of like reference folder on my iPad during the shoot that people can kind of steal some ideas from.
So like a look, effectively, like a lookbook where they can just scroll.
Yeah. So I always bring that along, because I always forget shoots and run out of ideas. But also it is best to kind of have your own list and your own sort of list of backup tricks as well, because what might, look good in this person's photo, maybe you don't like how it looks on you. So I always suggest the more you can kind of come in with it's better to run out of time to do all your tricks than to run out of ideas and kind of spend half the shoot being like, and then trying things that maybe you don't like how they look in the end. So if possible, practice your poses before the shoot.
And ideally outfit as well. So like ideally
yeah.
an outfit, because you, like
yes.
I said, it might not look so good in the outfit.
Exactly.
Mishap on the day. You don't want that to have to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely try to practice in your outfit. If you don't have access to like a pole or a hoop before the shoot, at least practice just like moving around in your outfit, or practice poses in the outfit that don't involve the apparatus so much, so that you can at least see how it looks, make sure everything stays in place, so I'm not as anal as making a PowerPoint before a shoot, but I'll generally have like I'll try to get into the studio and sort of practice the tricks, and sort of allocate them in folders on my phone. I'll take screenshots. I'll just do like a combo, film it, take a few screenshots, and then sort of arrange them by outfits that I'm planning to wear with said tricks. And I usually kind of, put them in order of like how much I want this to be a photo. So I think that's the main preparation. Figure out your outfits, have as many tricks and poses on your list as possible, but order them in favorite to least favorite.
And maybe figure out entry as well. So like obviously on a spin pole, probably not so much of a concern because you just spinning, but if you're on a static pole and you're taking like a photo of a butterfly, for example, one particular angle, the photo to be that angle, it's really hard to move up when you're on the static pole to actually get that angle. So practice which side of the pole you need to be entering from to get that angle. So practice as well is to probably definitely quite helpful. I figured that one out at our shoot. I was like,
so that one's a really important one also, just because it's really hard to kind of imagine, when you put through all that effort to get into an Aisha and then you're not in the right position. So it's good to practice that. I often prefer shooting with a spinning pole for that reason, because even if you enter it statically, if you're not in the right position, you can kind of slightly be moved in position without doing the full spin if you're not comfortable with spin. But I know that not everyone is happy to do spin in any way. So for that reason, like if you're only going to do static, try to make sure you know which way to enter. And it's always a good idea to bring a friend as well. I know that this applies mostly for me. I don't know about other photographers, but I tend to shoot solo. And so I don't really have an assistant. So it does help to have a friend to kind of put you in the right position or keep you on track with your list so that you don't have to keep running back and forth to your phone or whatever you're using for your list. It also helps with, if you need a little spin, they can kind of help you out, whereas I can't always run over, spin you, and then come back in position for a shot in time. So I always recommend bringing a friend if you can. I
was just thinking props as well. So there's a lot of material based shoots as well, where you need a friend or multiple friends perhaps to some material. And so the photographer obviously can't do that, so you'll need to and obviously unless the photographer's advertised it as one of those particular material shoots, or like a specific underwater shoot, for example, or whatnot, assume that they won't have that stuff there. So if you're doing a location shoot, for example, in the woods, then, and they haven't specified that it's with material and you want your material, like little things like that, make sure that you're prepared.
Definitely.
I was going to say another one that I really found was it's kind of like a test, when you answer a question on a test, if you get the first one right, you kind of feel good about yourself. Like if you so you feel good. Maybe like in terms of your tricks that you do in order, you might want to, order your tricks in a way that builds confidence throughout. Do you have any thoughts in terms of that?
Yeah, so generally at the start of the shoot, I mean, obviously I recommend that you come a little bit early before your shoot time so that you can warm up. But even with a warm up, I like to suggest doing sort of, tricks and poses that will warm you up, not just your body, but also sort of your, I guess, vibe for the shoot. Because sometimes I know it can be intimidating to do a photo shoot, whether you're a newbie or you've done this before. It's still a bit of pressure because you want to do really well. So yeah, I usually say, do some warm up tricks and poses that, aren't your hardest, but will kind of get you feeling like in the mood and warm up the body a bit more. And then once you're kind of there, then you can do your hardest tricks while you're still energetic and kind of have more energy and strength and aren't too sweaty yet. And then once the sweat happens and once you're just pooped, then we can just do some nice floor poses or just standing poses where you don't really have to get up the pole or hoop or stuff like that. Yeah, so that's usually what I suggest for, newbies, whereas like some of my more experienced shoot people are quite happy to just do the hardest tricks first.
Get them out of the way.
Yeah, they're like, get them out of the way. But for the newbies, I usually suggest, the sort of warm up tricks first and then do your hardest and then just kind of, relax a bit more. So yeah, it definitely depends on, I guess, your shoot experience, but I feel like that's usually a pretty good thing to follow. Yeah.
It's all about building your confidence, and a lot of people with their first shoot feel nervous as hell. And there's people out there who obviously don't, but for your first shoot, particularly if you're at a studio and it's a day shoot, so you're watching some others, you maybe turned up an hour beforehand because you're super nervous and you want to be everything really prepared, and you're watching others before you warm up and they might be a different level to you and you're watching them and just like in awe. And so particularly for the newbies, it might help you. It might also get a little bit more nervous watching others and you're like, during this period. It's just helpful to do everything you can to calm yourself down. So
absolutely.
A couple of ticks on the board for your first few shots is quite nice, and then it
definitely
relax. But I really like the bring a friend to your shoot. Obviously, like I said, the props before, but also they can help calm you down mentally and they keep you on track, and they can sort of keep an eye on the time. And if you've tricks in mind and you've a 30-minute shoot, you're kind of on average doing a trick every 3 minutes on average, so they might have your list there and go, okay, so you've got these 4 up, and they'll be like, okay, do this now, do this now, do this, okay, time to change, and they'll have the change ready to go. So, or like if you're there by yourself and you can't bring a friend, have your changes in piles ready. That it's not in a bag and you've got to hunt for it because you can't find one shoe because you've got 6 pairs of shoes with you. Little things like that just that's right.
Yeah, definitely. So all of those things do make a difference. So the more, like, the friend definitely helps a lot. It also helps me a bit because then I can kind of focus on the shooting and don't have to run back and forth. But I think I find that a lot of newbies really benefit from bringing a friend, just because it just is that extra, like I try to make everyone feel very comfortable, but I understand that, I might still be a new person that you might not really feel comfortable, like, doing tricks in front of. So having a friend there that, you're comfy with is really helpful, even if you've done a shoot before, but if it's been like a really long time, you just need that hype girl to help you out and just kind of, keep you on track and sort of keep you feeling comfortable. So I always.
Oh, no, you go.
Oh, no, I'm just, always recommend bringing a friend if you can. If you think it'll help, obviously, like I know some people kind of like to have their own private time during a shoot. So yeah, if that's what works for you, then cool. But yeah, if you're a little bit nervous and need sort of someone to be your cheerleader, then it's good to have a friend just for that extra hype.
Absolutely. I was gonna say your friend might even do a shoot straight after you, so you might end up being the hype girl for them or the hype boy for them, or
Yeah.
I was gonna say the other thing that you can do with a friend is you can, I think, share a shoot sometimes. So if you're purchasing, because you're not purchasing, you're purchasing the edits and then the associated time is my understanding. So sometimes it depends on the photographer and obviously clearing it with them and so forth. I've certainly seen this happen where people purchase the times and the edits are associated, and then they basically, one person will do a trick, come off because it was quite a hard trick, it's exhausting. So more so for the advanced levels, perhaps they come off, someone else is on the pole doing a trick, cool, they've done that, and then they swap, and then they've got some time to do a costume change without rushing. So that's always a nice thing. But then maybe for the more beginner levels, it might be that person one does their 3 or 4 or 5 tricks maybe, so 15 minutes, and then person two has done their 5. They might actually end up doing some cute little like doubles ones together. Is really nice, and they might be just like, they might not be in a doubles routine, but they just might be years. And I'm like, what a cute little memory to hold on to for 4 or 5 years down the track, when you hopefully still doing pole together in the same class. I have seen some really cute photos from girls at our studio from 10 plus years ago that did a photo shoot, and they're still like friends today, and I'm just like, that's adorable. I kind of want them to recreate it, but
yeah, I love that. I had that recently with an aerial shoot, and it was 3 girls that booked basically 3 time slots in a row together, and they just spent the whole 90 minutes just taking turns, doing a couple doubles. And yeah, it was really good use of time. So if you and a friend both decide you want a photo shoot and you can both make the same day and kind of the same time, it's always a good idea to kind of book back-to-back times, just so that you can sort of take turns. And so that always works. Otherwise, I've had quite often people book like a 1-hour shoot at my home studio and share that with a friend so that they can just take turns. So obviously with all of these, like, ask the photographer first, because I mean, for me, I'm like, that's fine, but I don't speak for all photographers. Just for my personal style of work, I'm quite happy to do that. And I also, another thing with like preparation, I really encourage just like asking a lot of questions, even if you've done a shoot before, because every photographer is a little bit different in how they work and how they run things. So it's a good idea to kind of ask as many questions as you can. Even myself, when I'm doing a shoot as the person being photographed, like I'll still throw a bunch of questions to the photographer, because I'm not going to assume that they're going to work the same way I do. So I like to kind of be prepared in that way and just be like, hey, can I do this? Is this okay? Like, how many edits am I going to get? Just so I know, blah, blah, blah. So stuff like that helps as well. Also, important thing to remember before I forget, when it comes to the tricks list as well, make sure you can do the tricks comfortably. Photo shoots are not a time to try new tricks or tricks you've only just learned that you're not, super confident in. As always, safety before sexy. So I can't always spot people. I am not an instructor either, so I shouldn't be spotting you. Unless you have like an instructor as your, shoot buddy, then you can try harder tricks. But generally, I don't recommend trying new things, because I've had people fall off the pole and then I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, oh, it's my second time doing that trick. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't have done that.
Trick to bring to your photo shoot. And don't expect your friend who's not an instructor to spot you in those situations either. To spot. So that's a really good point, Aisha. Thank you for bringing that one up.
It's happened not too often, luckily. I think most people are pretty like, it's they're pretty smart about what tricks they bring to a shoot, but I have had occasionally this is only my second time doing this trick, and I'm like, maybe don't do it. I know it looks really cool, and I'm sure it looks fantastic on you. And I've made the same mistake when I've been photographed from like, I just learned this trick and it looks really cool, and I want to try it in a shoot. Luckily didn't get injured or fall off the pole, but it just didn't look good in the photo because I wasn't super confident in it, and you can tell. So yes.
So basically, work on it, take it away, and
Yeah,
go to the next photo shoot because there'll be many.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they're all great tips. So many people are going to appreciate this so much. So I'm going to now move on to after the shoot. So what a lot of people don't see is the time that you spend putting in after hours into the editing process. I'm putting you a little bit on the spot here. But in terms of like for a photo shoot, like, let's talk about like a day shoot. So obviously you spend the whole day working there taking photos. For like one individual 30-minute slot, how many hours would it take you on average? Obviously everything's different, to complete the editing work for a photo shoot?
Oh God.
A lot, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. Because I'd never actually time myself, obviously.
He does.
But yeah. So with the individual edits, they can take anywhere between like 30 minutes to an hour per photo. Give or take, like that's a really rough estimate because some edits are a lot easier to do than others for various reasons. But yeah, so generally around that time, but there's also the processing of the raw images that I send out for you to pick from. And so, yeah, that involves me kind of looking through every individual photo and, getting rid of any that are, maybe out of focus or that didn't quite capture the trick in the best light or whatever. So I'll generally delete those just for quality control because yeah, I have had people that I have missed occasionally, like, a photo that I am not comfortable releasing as like my work. But then the person chose it as an edit, which is fine. I'm glad they liked it still, but I'm like, oh, the focus isn't on point. And I mean, it's still a good photo, but for me personally, I would be like,
And
yeah,
sure, that's like
yeah,
it's the photographer's artwork, so now I can
yeah,
understand that. But I think the point I'm trying to get across there is you spend a lot of time on these things, and I
yeah.
the time, and it's probably not appreciated as much by non-photographers out there as to how much effort actually goes in. And so when you have like a shoot, like a weekend shoot where you're spending 2 days, and I don't know how many people you'd end up shooting, but that's a lot of time and that's a lot of people. It can take quite a while for photographers to be able to get the edits out to people. Particularly what they'll do is they'll send the raw images, like you said, they're waiting for that person to get back to them, and so it can take some time. So I think for anyone out there who's listening, it's worthwhile checking with your photographer when they expect estimated time of delivery of edits. It's really not helpful for you to ask the photographer that after the shoot 3 weeks later, expecting them to be on your doorstep. So I'm gonna say this on your behalf. I'm saying this on photographer's behalf. It's really helpful to know before the shoot, or even if you ask after the shoot, but usually the photographer will tell you in that information that they give you at the start.
Yeah.
Expect the edits to be coming out in March. Like you should have your edits by this date, and you should have your raw images by this date and your edits approximately by this date. But a lot of people don't understand that when you've got like a weekend shoot, that it can take months.
Yeah.
Or even not a weekend shoot, but you might just have like heaps of photo shoots day to day. So
Yeah. So for me, I usually I usually kind of tell everyone at the end of the shoot, or also in sort of the email that I send out when the booking is made, that after the shoot, it usually takes me a couple of weeks to get the proofs out, and those are the raw images. that people get to pick their edits from. And for me personally, I usually give the estimate of up to 8 to 10 weeks editing time from the date you select the edits. So not everyone picks edits right away. Some people take a lot of time. I am one of those people. So yeah, if for example, the shoot was a month ago, but you only picked your edits 2 months after the shoot, it will be from the date that you've sent me your selection. That's when I will, expect to finish the edits. And I'll usually send out that information when I send the proofs. So, this is sort of the ETA. Obviously, I try to do the edits faster than that, but, life happens, and yeah, things happen. And I always have other things happening in the background, like
Physio.
with my Pole Physio Pole Physio illustrations, and like other shoot work that I might not post about in my Instagram because it's just not the same kind of content. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that's important to remember. I'm one of those people that when I do a photo shoot with another photographer, I'm like, I don't care when you get these to me. Just, I know you're going to get them to me. I know how it is. Take your time. If you need to put someone before me, that's fine too, because I know how life, as someone who also takes photos, I'm like, I know these things can take time. So I'm never in any rush. But I also take a really long time to pick my edits. So there's that. And yeah, so I'd never really put a time limit for when you pick your edits, because I know that for some people, it's a process. So you kind of have to sit with the photos for a while and decide. But yeah, generally that's my kind of time frame. Obviously, if I'm going to get them done sooner, then yay. If anything happens and it's going to be a bit late, then I will obviously let people know. Yeah.
So I think having realistic expectations is helpful from the poler's point of view. So asking these questions of the photographer before, having that realistic expectation that it's not going to probably turn up 2 weeks after the shoot. It's shocking if it does, or 2 weeks after you've picked your edit. It's probably going to take a little bit longer because there's a lot. I've definitely seen the excitement of people after having their shoot, and I've had mine.
I totally understand. Like I get the same excitement as well. And, even though I'm a slow edit picker, like I still get really excited about getting my edits. And I find that, like it's really tempting to be like, when are they going to be done? But it can take time, depending how busy, how much workload, we already have. And some shoots obviously will take a bit longer to edit than others. Like event shoots generally don't involve individual image editing, so those can be processed a bit faster. But for like the full photo shoot, polished, retouched perfection edits, those take a bit of time. That said, I'm usually pretty happy if somebody, say, wants to use an image for a competition graphic. I'm happy to kind of give an unedited or just like slightly color retouched image for them to use for that, because it's going to be a small picture, so I'm not too concerned with the details not being perfect. So if you do need them for something, I'm usually pretty happy to sort of release the unedited early. But I am also a perfectionist, so I generally don't like releasing unedited shots.
With that, I was literally about to say the reason why photographers can take a little bit of time to get edits back to us is because they are literally striving for perfection for your photographs, to try and ensure that you're happy with the finished product and that they're the best that they can be. I've definitely seen, I know you obviously very well, and I know your perfection skills, and I love it about you, and I see it in every one of your photos in terms of how much time and effort you put into making everyone look at the best that they can. And I know there's so many other photographers that do the exact same, and I've compared to people who have had unedited versions or mini edits to theirs, and I'm like, yeah, you can definitely see the difference, and you can see where the time goes into, so I can appreciate and understand why it takes so long. So yeah, for everyone watching at home, just have patience with your photographer. They're doing their best to make it look amazing.
We are. And I mean, I could rush the edits, but I won't, because it's not my, I want you to get the best image possible, and want everything to just look flawless, have everything look really nice and clean, because you've paid for this time, you've paid for these images. I want you to get your money's worth and make sure it's perfect, or as close to perfect as can be. Yeah.
And then obviously the hard part for us after the shoot is done, from like not from a photographer point of view, but from a polar point of view or an aerialist point of view, is picking the edits. I don't know why I said that, but picking the edits is hard. And if anyone is anything like me, they pretty much buy everything because they're undecisive. So I was going to say, there's obviously an option to purchase extra edits depending on the photographer and so forth at additional prices. Obviously, when you're picking extra edits, then you might get your first 5, or they might come in batches, depending on what your photographer has on and how busy they are. And that's
so if I'm not too busy, like if I don't have a massive backlog of images, I will generally get your extra edits out in sort of the same chunk as your main edits, your included edits. But yeah, if I'm a little bit busy, I'll or if it's following one of those like shoot weekends where I've done 15 people in one day kind of shoots, I'll usually send out your included edits first, just so I can get through my list of people, just so it's fair that because some people might not have any extra edits and someone might buy 10, and so it's just a bit like I like to keep things fair. So I'm like, all right, you'll all get your included 5, and then I'll kind of circle back once I've made it through this batch of people, and then I'll come back and do your extras, just so that everyone gets their edits at like the expected time. So I like to just do that. I don't know how other photographers deal with extra edits, but that's just the way I do it. And yeah, look, if I don't have a massive backlog, or if there's a bit of time for me to get through all of your extras at the same time, then I will absolutely do that. But yeah, sometimes you need to get them in batches.
I like it. It creates a fairness, like you said, and it just means that you kind of get excited about the other ones, because you've got 5, and they you might slowly release them one at a time on Instagram for quite a few weeks, and then boom, before you know it, you might have your next lot. So I think it's nice. So I think we've asked so much of you today. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I really appreciate it. I know everyone else listening will appreciate it too. So in terms of where people can find you, so you're located in Melbourne, Australia, so Victoria. So anyone who is located in our state, or anyone coming from interstate or visiting from internationally, can basically book a shoot with you at any point. They just contact you via Diandra.creative for your Instagram account. Do you have any other preferred method of contact?
Can email me, hello@aishadiandra.com.
Yep. Do you want to spell your name for you, so for them?
Sure. Yeah. So it's just hello at aishadiandra.com. Yeah.
Great. So that's how you can contact Aisha. So that's for photo shoots, but you are also, by the time we've released this, you will also be accepting very limited artwork commissions. So you obviously do artwork for Pole Physio, which we adore, like nerd out on every time. Every time I see one, every time I've asked you for something and you produce it, like I don't think I could get any more surprised after that I see it. I was like, oh, I'm just so happy that Inner Nerd in me is just like ecstatic. So obviously you do commissions, but very few of them look like the Pole Physio artwork. Usually your commissions are more so like of people, for example, people want artwork of their loved ones or so forth. Any other commissions that you do that I've forgotten there?
Pretty much most of the commissions I do are sort of like pole based commission. So generally it'd just be somebody wants to give a friend a birthday present or some other present, and so they'll have me sort of illustrate an image of the friend. Usually they just send me a photo of the friend that they like in like a pole position, and might have suggestions like, oh, can you put her in the forest, or, you know, add these embellishments and stuff like that. So yeah, it's sort of with the art commissions, obviously.
I'm not sure if that's you phrasing or if that's me. Oh, goodness. Aisha might join us back in a second. I'm just going to make sure it's not my internet connection. That actually might be my internet connection. Sorry, everyone. Oh, no, it's there. Okay, it's Aisha's then. All right. I don't know what Aisha was going to say there, so I'm not too sure as to what's happening. So as to what she was talking about, I'll see if she pops back on. But what I was going to suggest is, oh, no, she's disappeared. There she is. All right, I'll bring her back. I don't know what happened. Let me bring you.
I think my internet died. It's been doing that.
Oh, okay, that's why. All right, I'll bring you back to our immersive view. There we are. All good.
Where were we?
I was like, it was just me and you. Art commissions, you're saying the thing about art commissions.
Oh, yeah, so
I'm putting you on.
That's all right. I'm just trying to remember where I was before it froze.
That's okay.
So yeah, with the art commissions, generally it's most of what I do for art commissions is sort of polars, but like enhanced, I guess. I don't know, that's not the right word for it. Embellished. We'll go with that. So yeah, it might be, oh, can you take this photo of my friend on the pole and put her in the forest, or, you know, add these special details or whatnot. Or I had one where it was, I want my friend doing pole and hoop in one shot, in one drawing. So that one was fun. And yeah, so with the art commissions at the moment, I'm only doing digital art commissions just because it's a bit easier to deliver to people. And also, obviously, with the digital commissions, I can do that internationally as well, because it's just a digital file. And you'll get like the high-res image, and you can print it out as big as you want, or, you know, within reason. But yeah, so with the art commissions, yeah, it's pretty much just that kind of personalized sort of art piece, and I can kind of, yeah, stylize it, and I guess it's just a little bit fun. So it's like a photo shoot, but a bit more unique in a way because it's an illustration. Yeah.
I've seen, you've obviously done artwork for years, and I've seen the ones that you've done of like Mish, you turned her into artwork, and you turned Philly into artwork. And I think there was someone else I saw that you turned into artwork in Australian Polar.
Gracie.
It was Gracie. I was thinking it was Gracie. And they're really cool. You've taken some iconic photos from their Pole Dance Australia and turned them into artwork, which was really awesome. And I know you also have some products on online shop, but I'm not sure, is that still happening?
It's in the process.
Okay, so watch this space, everyone, because Asha's going to potentially redo some things and make them 2023.
Yeah, so I did have, I still do have the original Pole Physio series available as products online. But I am revamping that. So that's one of the things that I'm planning to do this year. So yeah, I'm basically, because my style has changed a bit since I first did those. So I'm just kind of revamping them, doing it digitally just so that it's a bit cleaner and more polished looking. It's going to be pretty similar to the original, but a few of the letters, a few of the shapes are changing, and I'm also kind of stylizing the polars, the letters a little bit more. Yeah, so
keep an eye
coming.
Yeah, so there you go. You heard it first. There's this little teaser for everyone there. But yeah, Aisha previously released the Pole Physio, which is pole dancers creating shapes in different letters. So I know a lot of people purchase products with their, their initials in the Pole Physio, which was really cute. So that will be fun. So looking forward to seeing your revamped version when I don't know how you do it when you've got time, is what I was about to say.
Yeah, it'll be happening pretty slowly in the background. Yeah, so at the moment I'm in the early process of just kind of assigning shapes to letters and sketching things out. So yeah, that's going to be coming this year.
Right.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for it, everyone. Well, I think you've given so much time. We're very appreciative. Thank you so much. We're going to wrap it up there for today. We're going to do a quick little virtual cheers, a bit lame, but it's our little coffee.
Oh, where's my coffee mug go?
Put it on top of your body. It will disappear. Cheers. Cheers. Yeah, we've got a drink. Can't not cheers and drink. Thanks everyone for joining us for today's session. As mentioned, you can find Aisha through her socials, or you can contact her directly through her email. And you can watch out for more of her fabulous pole anatomy through the Pole Physio page, but definitely go and follow her on socials and check out some of her incredible artwork. Thank you. And photography. Sorry, just artwork. My head artwork includes everything, but artwork and photography. So we really appreciate it. And yeah, if you're in Melbourne, book a shoot with Aisha. She's awesome. So and yes, definitely takes the time to ensure that your photos come out looking as perfect as possible. So thank you, Aisha, for all your work.
Thank you.
From the Pole team as well, everything that you do for us. We're always super appreciative, and thank you for your time today.
Hey, thanks so much. That was fun. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you later.